Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program and welcome to the Mubarak days of Dhul Hijjah. It's the final few days before the end of the Mubarak days of Hajj. We're back home in South Africa, but we are following all of the movements of our brothers and sisters who have embarked on this Mubarak journey of Hajj. If you remember, last week we spoke to Sister Rhoda Hendricks Durries about the inner dimensions of the rituals of Hajj. This week we're going to be talking to Brother Sheikh Saeed. He is a revert Muslim. He has embraced Islam 21 years ago, and we're going to talk about his journey on Hajj. But before we embark on his journey and his memories of this ultimate journey of a lifetime, we're going to find out exactly who he is and what it is that made him embrace this Mubarak deen of Islam, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum to you, Sheikh Saeed. Welcome to the program. It's wonderful to be talking with you today, right here on Hilaal TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu to you, my dearest and respected sister Juliari, as well as all your engineers at the studio and all the viewers of Hilaal TV, whoever they may be. And Jazakumullah khairan so much for this opportunity. And we thank Allah Ta'ala that He has kept us till this far to witness another Dhul Hijjah and another season of Hajj, alhamdulillah. And shukran so much for this opportunity.
Alhamdulillah, we are looking at Hajj through the eyes of a new Muslim, but you're not a very new Muslim. You have embraced the deen of Islam over 21 years ago. Talk to us about your journey to Islam. I understand that your early years of life were very difficult. You come from very humble beginnings, but you also spent a considerable time in prison. So please share your story with us.
نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah Ta'ala that Allah Ta'ala has given us life once again, and Allah Ta'ala has given us an opportunity that we can share some of our experiences so that it can be a lesson for us, a lesson for those who are around, and also a lesson for the coming generations, inshallah. If you even look at the Quran itself, it is full of stories and stories and stories of the nation of the past, so that we can learn the mistakes and the good things that happened in the past, so as well as a map and a direction that we can be able to do those things which are pleasing to Allah and avoid those things which are not pleasing to Allah Ta'ala. Yes, alhamdulillah, basically my life story before accepting Islam, I was born here in KZN at Umlazi location, and that's where I grew up, and that's where I did my primary schooling as well as my high schooling. Yes, as we have said before, and some of the viewers may also know that I'm a person who accepted Islam in the prison, at Westville prison, through the efforts of the ulama of the Muslim Prison Board, who are coming into different prisons in the country, and they are bringing a lot of literature and dawah literature, as well as also madrasa taking place in prisons, so that we can be able to learn about Allah Ta'ala. That's where I accepted Islam. But prior to that, I'm coming from a Christian home. Both my mother and my father, alhamdulillah, they are still alive, and I always make dua every day. Allah Ta'ala guide them into Islam. So, and we also request our viewers also to please make special duas for our parents, as well as all the masses of our country, even the leaders who are leading the country. Allah Ta'ala must guide them into Islam. As we all know, that as a result of the history of our country, there was a lot of separation of races and nations. So, but after that, in this new dispensation, we came to learn about new cultures, new religions, and all that. I think the first time I got exposed to know about Islam, it was when I was to know about it, but not to actually accept Islam fully. it was a time when I was doing my high school years. That's when I came to know about Islam, where I befriended a person who was a Muslim. His name was Ali Ghafari, and that's where I came to know first hand in hand about Islam. Yes, I used to sometimes join Ali and bunk school every Friday. I used to join Ali and then bunk school and pretend as if at school I'm a Muslim, but I just wanted to bunk school, then I can go and do your shoplifting and all the wrong things that I got involved in. But after that, I got involved into very serious crimes and like your hijacking, your robberies, and very, very serious crimes. And I started going in and out of prison. But one robbery went wrong in the, I think it was 2000, and it was 1998, 1998, 1999, around there. That's when I got sentenced into 15 years into prison. And that's when I started doing a soul searching. You know, I was searching for the purpose of life and all that. Luckily, that in prison, there is a library, there is information. So most of the time I used to spend in library reading and also doing gymming. I used to do a lot of gym, and that's where I really got exposed into the literature. The first thing that I got exposed to was the Quran, which was translated by Rahimahullah, Yusuf Ali, Rahimahullah, the thick Quran, the thick one, the white Quran. They are different colors, but I got involved. I got exposed to this thick Quran, and that when I started reading the Quran and reading, you know, the rhythm of Tawheed, the message of Risalat. What made it very easy for me just to connect is because I came from a very staunch Christian background. I came from a very staunch Christian background. So though I left church and left everything, got involved in crime, but I think the background of Christianity that was in me, how I grew up as a Christian, it's just connected easily with the message of the Quran. And but the only thing that I've noticed was that the Quran is all about worshiping God alone. And Jesus, peace be upon him, Isa alayhi salam, is not taken as a God or the Trinity and all that. So the concept of Trinity is been dispelled in the Quran, but the concept of unity of Allah Ta'ala, Tawheed, that is the concept. So I really fell in love with the concept of Islam, and I wanted to search more and more. That's why I get to know that there are some Muslims scholars who are coming to prison. And then that's where I got exposed into learning more and even learning how to read the Quran. And I was introduced into this brotherhood of Muslims which are in the prison, and I took my shahada, and they wanted to learn more and more and more. And luckily, there were some prisoners also, who inmates who had a lot of knowledge about Islam and Hadith and all that. So um, I used to visit them during maybe times for exercise or break. When you are not locked up, you have to visit each other. Then I came to know and to learn, you know, the first hadith, that as-salatu imaduddin. I was taught by a prisoner. Unfortunately, that brother, he's still in prison now. He's doing life sentence. I'm in touch with him. He's somewhere in Portsmouth. I think he's in Portsmouth prison. He has spent over 20, 21, 22 years. He's still in prison. But Hafiz Abdullah Molefe. He's the one who first taught me the first hadith, that as-salatu imaduddin, that salah is the pillar of deen. Since that time till today, I'm always in touch with Brother Abdullah and Hafiz Abdullah, and that way. But not only that, I also got exposed to some people, or like Hafiz, I don't know, Sheikh Saeed and Nuruddin, and a great Qari, a great scholar who was also incarcerated doing 45 years. Alhamdulillah, he has been released now. But I learned a lot of deen from him, and because the ulama are only allowed to come one session in every week, one session every week. But I was in this environment where I started learning a lot, Arabic and the meanings of the Quran and a lot of things, alhamdulillah, and the brotherhood, especially in prison during the time of Ramadan, where we are all put in one fasting cell, and there's Taraweeh taking place. There's ta'alim and ta'allum, learning and teaching taking place among prisoners. You know, it's such an environment that you would wish that, you know, the prison cells are only, fasting cells are only allocated only for the month of Ramadan. But that background and that environment of being in one fasting cell, maybe about 60 Muslims and rivets, and some who are also coming from the background of the Muslim families. And that's what has really shaped us and shaped me, that I really wanted to learn more about Islam. After my release, I decided that I want to go and learn more and spend my time in madrasa and learn more about Islam, so that I can be able to try and preach it to the multitudes of our country. Alhamdulillah.
Subhanallah, wonderful story. We're so pleased that you've embraced Islam and you've made such a difference, not only in your own life, but you have worked long and hard in the community in Hardin, the non-Muslim community, and you've done lots of dawah work. We'll talk about all of that and more, very especially your journey of Hajj, which you undertook last year. So please stay with us. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back. I'm talking with Sheikh Saeed. He is the leader of the Sun Party. He's based in Harding, Natal. He's also a revert Muslim. He embraced Islam 21 years ago whilst still in prison. He's here to talk about his journey accepting Islam, and then very importantly, we're going to talk about his experience of Hajj, which he embarked on last year, 2023. Welcome back, Sheikh Saeed, and I'm wondering, what was the response and reception like to you when you came out of prison? You went back to your community in Harding. You are now a new human being. You were also a revert Muslim. How did you explain yourself to your friends and your loved ones? And were they very accepting of you and your new religion, very especially since you're probably viewed by certain people in the community as an ex-convict? How does that all sit with you now, that many years later?
What I can say is that when I got released, as I've said, that I grew up in Mlazi, which I believe it's the second biggest location in the country after Soweto. So that's where I grew up. And when I had to be released, I had to go back to Mlazi. And when I went back to Mlazi, and now I'm a Muslim, and I tried to create a link and a network with the Muslim Prison Board and some of the ulama which were coming into prison, who were teaching me Islam and all that, and I had an intention that I want to go and study Deen at the madrasa. But before that, I found it very, very difficult to fit in. Why? Because you see, what I've noticed is that most of the people who are coming from prison, the community does not always welcome them, and everybody tends to, to be very scared, and they don't want their children or their relatives or anyone to come closer to a person who has been convicted and been in prison. But the irony of this is that, the criminals and all the wrongdoers, and they are the ones who really welcome you. So I was more welcomed by the criminals and all the wrongdoers, and they had hope that with maybe 9 years experience, since I spent 9 years in prison, then I have more experience, I'm more qualified, to be welcomed in their circles, and with experience and courage and bravery, obvious, which is wrong. So what I've noticed is that the criminals tend to welcome you much better than the community. Yes, we don't blame the community, and because it's human nature that when people see something wrong or someone who has been involved in wrong things, they will be cautious and stay away from that person. But that what really happened is that, the criminals started flocking in my house and coming with different cars and different guns and everything, and say, let's start where we left off, let's continue where we left off. For me to get my own car, to get my own, clothes and everything, they introduced me into robberies, to go and start robbing again. So I found this experience to be very conflicting with what I had now, with this nur of Islam and the light of Iman in my heart, and the desire to learn Islam, a desire to go to madrasa and learn Deen. I remember at one day that I literally cried when I was going down to the stairs, going to my house. I cried. I was thinking that, you know what should I do? I felt like I have to be split apart. It's either I go and learn Islam and be a Muslim, try to live a clean and upright life, but have no money and have no employer, have nothing. Or either I carry on with the criminals and have a possibility of losing my life, or possibility of being arrested again, and the possibility of also having a lot of money. So at that night, I remember I told my parents, but alhamdulillah, my parents, they accepted my decision of accepting Islam. And I was also being in touch with some of the ulama and the muftis because I started visiting different organizations which are based in Durban, in town, and wanted someone who can refer me to a madrasa and all that. Luckily, there was a great mufti that I still respect still today, who's working at Darul Ihsan, Mufti Mohammed Mangera, Hafizahullah, a great scholar and a great Sufi, a great mentor in my life. Then he's the one who left his office work and took me to go to Talimuddin, and then told me that, Hazrat, you stay here. If you don't feel comfortable, let me know and phone me. I'll come and take you to a much better madrasa or something, whatever. But he tried, even went to my home and meet my parents. That's the first encounter where I really had someone who had so much love and took me to madrasa. So, but I felt, because madrasas are not the same. Some are strict and all that. But somehow the madrasa where it took me, I slowly felt like I'm back in prison again. I'm not being a, maybe I'm not trying to blame the madrasa or anything, but I felt like, what, hey, all these rules again, for 9 years, the rules and rules and rules. And again, there's more rules now, no going out of the gate, no phones, no this, no that. I said, no, this is too much for me. Then I told Mufti Saab, then I had to go and look for a lenient madrasa. But at the same time, the criminals are here calling me to go back into crime and all that. Then I decided that, no, let me go back to my hometown where my parents are originally from, in the rural areas of Harding. Then that's where I started studying Deen under Mufti Yaqub Vadi at Madrasa Miftahul Falah. There was a little flexibility at the madrasa there, and I was also be able to go in town, and I started selling on the streets whilst I was studying. I was also selling on the street, selling clothes, selling, I was like a hawker on the streets, and at the same time I was a student. So there was a flexibility of where I can be able to earn and start a family. I remember I was still a student when I got married and started a family, because I was working at the same time. I was also studying, and in Harding, it was a place where I didn't grow up, but my parents grew up in Harding. And whilst I was studying at the madrasa, I had this feeling that, I should go out to the community of Harding in the locations, and spread the message of Islam and preach the message of Islam. Because I remember the first maktab, musalla, and the madrasa that Allah Ta'ala used me to start and to initiate. I was still a student. I think I was doing the third year in Alim course, if not the second year, because I used to print pamphlets, and I took some students every weekend, and we used to go like how the Jamaat brothers are going in twos and twos and twos. We used to go to the location, the nearest location, knocking each and every home, each and every house, and then giving them these pamphlets about Islam. There were 10 points that I wrote in those pamphlets, and then on my own pocket, on my own, since I was also working on the streets selling, so I used to use that money. And Alhamdulillah, one of the guys who was also in prison, he was in prison at that time. He saw us going up and down in the community. Then he allowed us to use an RDP house of his, said, no, Sheikh, for prayers and for everything. When you are here in the community doing your dawah, use my house for prayers. And then he used to give us WhatsApp with the students. And that's where his house, he passed, rahimahullah, and we were together with him in prison. But he passed away now. But he was the one who allowed us to use his small RDP house, to use it as a madrasa. Alhamdulillah, that's where the first maktab and the first madrasa started. So now I had a duty to teach madrasa and also studying. I was studying, also teaching madrasa, and also selling on the street because of out of this desire that you know what, if I carry on studying but we don't let people know about Islam, at least the least we can do is to start a maktab and have these pamphlets giving them into different houses. Alhamdulillah, now that madrasa is grown up into over 300 students which are coming every day, and some ulama who are taking care of that madrasa. Since I got busy with a lot of things, other madrasas, and also I was involved in politics. So Alhamdulillah, the madrasa is grown and very big. Alhamdulillah, with the assistance of the Alim Dad Foundation, they built a very big center, a massive center. Alhamdulillah, and there's a lot of over 6 asatiza and their uppers. They are teaching in that madrasa, and it has become like the heart of the community. The Mazakere Islamic Center has become like the heart of the community. Everyone knows Islam is something which is so common in the area, and Muslims azan daily on daily basis. It is something over the past 10 years, something that has become a norm. And anything in the community, they will refer to the madrasa, they refer to me and Maulana Haider, who is in charge, and some asatiza. So Islam has just become a norm. Some of our students, they have graduated universities. Some of our students, some of them, they got involved in wrong crime and everything, but they always come and refer back to the madrasa. We hope that the seed that we planted in that community, it will grow one day and become fruits of Iman and for Hidayah for the entire country, inshallah.
Inshallah, Ameen. Let's go for our next ad break. When we come back, we're going to talk to you about your experience of Hajj. What was it like, and what was your understanding of Hajj prior to going on this amazing journey? Welcome back. My guest is Sheikh Saeed. He is the leader of the Sun Party. They're based in Harding, KZN. We're not here to talk politics this morning. We're going to be talking his experience of Hajj. Welcome back, Sheikh, and wonderful to be talking with you, very especially about the Hajj experience that you underwent last year, 2023. Prior to embarking on Hajj, what was your understanding of Hajj and its rituals?
As we all know, alhamdulillah, that like last year, and I was already being a Muslim, fully fledged Muslim, as well as a student of Deen. I had spent time with a lot of ulama and different madaris or madrasas, and I also had the basics, studying about Islam, because alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala gave me an opportunity to make sabr until I finished my alim course, and also had an opportunity to sit at the feet of a great giant from the giants of Islam, Hazrat Mufti Ibrahim Desai, rahimahullah, to do some little bit of mufti iftar course by him, alhamdulillah. So when I went to Hajj, already I had a very a good understanding, and also as a responsibility and a duty from myself, as we know that Bunyan Islam ala khams, that Islam is founded on 5 pillars. So I had always had that longing within me that I had to fulfill this pillar from the pillars of Islam, which is to go and visit the Holy Land and also fulfill all the rituals that were done by the father of faith, Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, as well as which were also completed and by Nabi alayhi salam, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it was a longing within me, and to be honest, I was supposed to go to Hajj with my late wife Khadija. May Allah Ta'ala have mercy on her. So Hazrat Mufti Ibrahim Desai, he had made arrangements before Mufti Sahib left this world. He had made arrangements also via the Alimdad Foundation that I must apply for Hajj as well as my wife. So both of us applied, me and myself, as well as and my wife, we applied to go for Hajj. But as we all know that during 2019, 2020, around there. Then there was COVID that came in and took a lot of lives. So it happened that also my wife, who was also accredited to go for Hajj, she, Alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala took her to, I think, the best Hajj, which is to meet Allah Ta'ala, not just only the Baytullah, but to meet Allah Ta'ala, as well as Mufti Saab, who made the arrangement, Rahimahullah, for me to go for Hajj. Allah Ta'ala took him to himself, and both of them, they didn't witness this occasion where I to go and visit the Holy Land. Constantly, when I was in the Holy Land, my duas were always with them, as well as the Ummah in our country. And if I remember, one of my advices that, because I was going around to different ulama taking advices, one advice that was given to me by my principal, Hazrat Murana Khan Sahab from Darul Nu'maniya, where I finished my alim course. He said, Saeed, the first time you see the Kaaba, make sure that you make a special dua for your parents, that Allah Ta'ala must put iman in their hearts. So Alhamdulillah, when I went for Hajj, it was the first time going out of the country, a very exciting experience to fly for hours and hours, going to Dubai and also landing into Medina and spending time in Masjid al-Nabawi. It was an experience that can never ever be explained. You know, it can't be explained, but it's an experience that it's a form of kind of a rebirth. It's a form of kind of that is like it's some kind of being born again and really, really fulfilling. You know, the duty of being a Muslim with performing the Hajj. So I already had a basic knowledge from the kitabs and from different masail and everything. I had the knowledge. But once you go there, because I remember there's also a mufti, a close mufti, a friend of mine who was also my ustaz. When he first went, when he came there, after 5 years he has been in the Holy Land, he started asking from me as to where is this place, where is it, because of the different developments that are there. So likewise, the kitabs, they give you an idea of what's going on, but once you are there, you become like a grade R student. Everything you have to start learning slowly, all the places and the rituals and how you go and doing this and doing that. And so it was a very exciting experience, but a fulfilling experience. Like as I've said, it's a form of a rebirth. It's a form of feeling that you are fulfilling the last pillar from the pillars of Islam. Alhamdulillah, it was an exciting experience, and also meeting a lot of races, different people, and the only thing you can just say is to know Tabarakallahu Ahsanul Khaliqin, that Allah Ta'ala is the greatest. To see different millions of people, different colors, different languages, everything is so different. It just makes you to think, no, you can't keep on doing anything except to praise Allah and to also send salawat on Nabi Sallallahu, who was the center of all this Nabi Ibrahim, who have made that call that the nations of the world must come from. That call, alhamdulillah, all of us, generation to generations, are there, alhamdulillah.
What was your first, what was the feelings that, you were going through, experiencing when your eyes fell on the Kaaba? But before we get there, how did you, when you went to the Rauda, what was the feelings that you had during that time, and the du'as that you made when you were at the Rauda Mubarak?
The feeling, obviously, it's like, to be honest, you just want to die there. To be honest, I felt that as much as I know that I'm a sinner. There's a lot of things that need to be done back at home and all that dawah and all that. But the feeling is that it's like, labbaik Allahumma labbaik. It's like Allah Ta'ala, I'm here now. Allah Ta'ala just taking me. The feeling is that you just want to be taken and don't come back again. Because you feel like already you are in the court of Allah Ta'ala, you are in the presence of Allah, you are in the Holy Land, the most holiest of places, and where the Anbiya, they were here in this place, and the feeling is that Allah just taking me. Before I start looking at haram, talking haram, doing other wrong things and going back home. Allah Ta'ala, please just take me. That's the honest feeling that I have. But the reality strikes in that, I have children at home and I have a community at home which does not know about Islam, and I have to go back at home. It was more like also a recharge. It's like we are coming to recharge again. When the reality strikes in, you feel like this experience must recharge me. So when I go back home, I must do more. If Nabi Sallallahu, the Sahaba, they've done so much to unite the world in this one place, I must get the same feeling, the same oomph, the same zeal, and the same spirit of those men who were true to Allah Ta'ala and those women who were true to Allah Ta'ala and His Rasul. Allah Ta'ala, can you just recharge me? Then I can go back home and spread your deen and make sure that our country, South Africa, becomes a Muslim country. So that was my constant dua when I was there, that Allah Ta'ala use me, Allah Ta'ala use us, Allah Ta'ala use Muslims of the country so that we can win the hearts of people towards Islam. It was more than that. There was nothing more than that. Because now the serenity and even the high rate of crime, the high rate of unemployment, the high rate of hunger and inequality that you will see in our country. And when you come there, you see this uniformity, you see this serenity, and you see there is not much of crime and all these things. And you just pray and wish how we can be able to take this and replicate it and go to our country and our communities. That constant of azan, constant of zikr, constant of everywhere, every corner. If you're not doing anything, you're waking up at any time. Someone is praising Allah, someone is praying, someone is reading Quran, that's the feeling that Allah Ta'ala uses us so we can take all this spirituality and take this mahal and this environment that we see in the Holy Land and how we can bring it back into our country. As we know how our country is, there's a lot of social problems and social challenges that we have, and a lot of people don't even know about Islam. The feeling was that Allah Ta'ala used me, Allah Ta'ala used us, used the Ummah, unite us so we can spread the message of Islam. And I know that there is nothing that is impossible. I was saying this because I saw it was possible where there were some lands before which were not Muslim lands, but when Muslims set their foot and they had this zeal which the Sahaba had, they managed to transform their communities and their countries, like Indonesia and many, many other countries which were not Muslim, even in Africa, many other countries which are today full-time Muslim. So I had that even till today, it is something that I have in me, that one day we must work hard to introduce Islam into all the races of our country. It is possible and it can be done. So that was the dua of how can Allah Ta'ala make us the Imams of the Muttaqin and transform our society. It was, as I've said, the experience is that Allah take me. Just take me and I don't come back again. Just take me from here. Like how our husband Mulana Yunus Patel used to always cry and make dua that Allah Ta'ala take us in the Mubarak land, Mubarak land. It's the same thing that comes, that Allah Ta'ala take me here in the Mubarak land. But when the reality comes, you start thinking that, what, Allah, we need to take this mahal and this environment, use us to bring it back into our country, inshallah. That's
Ameen.
The main thing.
Ameen. Okay, let's go for our next ad break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about your experience when your eyes first fell on the Holy Kaaba and all of the other rituals whilst you were in Makkah performing your Hajj, inshallah. It's the final segment of my interview with Sheikh Saeed. We're talking about his Hajj experience, and we do hope that it's going to inspire you as well. So let's get back with him and talk about what stood out for him most in the holy city of Makkah, and what does he want to share with us regarding his Hajj experience. And of course, you are going to be seeing a couple of the clips and the overlays that will be flashing on the screen, just depicting his memories of Hajj 2023. Welcome back, Sheikh Saeed, and let's talk about what was the most memorable experience you've had when you arrived in Makkah, and your feelings when your eyes first fell on the Holy Kaaba.
Alhamdulillah, as I've said, that the first thing that comes in mind is that Allah, I have come to you, Allah, I've come to your house, Allah, I've come to this house of which Anbiya and the Salihin for many thousands of years, for many hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands, they were coming here and praying in front of Allah Ta'ala, can you please take me? But as I've said, my first dua was that I prayed for the hidayah of my parents when I saw the Kaaba, and also the hidayah of the people of our country. Yes, we have to be honest. For those who have been in this journey of Hajj, it is very, very important, to first have these pre-Hajj classes, which helps you to condition your mind and make you understand that actually you're not going to a picnic. It is not a picnic because of a lot of, as we all know, there's a lot of walking and there's a lot of exercises and walking and walking and walking. So those classes, which were pre-Hajj classes, they really gave me some little bit of strength to prepare myself. That it's not just you going one place and just having a nice time. No, there's a lot of juhud. There's a lot of a lot of exerting yourself. Your body, your spirituality, and even I can be honest. We have to be honest. One of the things that I felt maybe on the negative side, because we have to balance our story. The negative thing that I've noticed, I'm not saying it's negative, but it's an experience that really didn't make me feel very happy. If I can remember, maybe the people that I met who are maybe indigenous people, Zulu, Xhosa speaking people, maybe there were not more than 5, if I remember clearly. If I may be wrong, but that I met during Hajj in a number of maybe close to 3,000 or 2,000 Hujjaj from South Africa, and there were very, very few people that you can connect and relate and with, because also I remember in some of the times there were times where since most of the South African Hujjaj, they are seen as people of color. So sometimes I used to be chased away in the tents, maybe, when I say, no, I'm South African. Remember, I went to the tech shop to buy something. Then I said, no, when I go back, then the guards will chase me away, And what will help me was that little bit of Arabic that I've learned, in madrasa. Then I had to explain, in Arabic and everything. And no, that I'm in Junub Africa, and then I have to explain to them. And then someone maybe will come and say, no, it's from us. So what I'm trying to say is that maybe we should encourage, our Muslim community, that we should identify people who are elderly, people who have not went for Hajj in different communities in our country, especially the indigenous community. We may feel that it is a invisible community which does not exist, but the reality is that the community is there and it is growing. We are having children, we're having wives, and then the community is growing of indigenous Muslims. So if maybe there should be a certain percentage of people that can be identified, also that they must go also for Hajj.
Okay, Sheikh
from the
Saeed,
indigenous community. So
what I would like to say, is that you're well placed in your community and you're very well connected with the Muslim community, the wider Muslim community. So we leave it to you to take that up and make that possible. You're a politician as well, so you will be able to make that possible. I'm more interested in hearing about your experience, your actual experience, and thank you for sharing that with us. We as Muslims need to be mindful of that sort of situation. We need to embrace anybody who looks slightly different to us. Wherever we are on Hajj, whilst we're on Hajj, we need to embrace people and not, as you said, tell them that, you're not supposed to be here, you're supposed to be in a different tent, etc. You haven't told me yet your feelings when your eyes fell on the Kaaba and all the other rituals of Hajj. We're more interested in hearing that, please.
What I can say, I'll keep maybe on eating the same thing. It was more like a rebirth and a feeling that you just want Allah just to take you. To be honest, everyone who comes, especially the first time to see the Kaaba and to know that you are witnessing and seeing this house which was built by the Anbiya, and you are here in front of Allah Ta'ala, and many, many generations of pious people came and then they circumambulated the Kaaba, they prayed, and Nabi Sallallahu was here, the Sahaba were here, and the feeling, to be honest, is the feeling that Allah Ta'ala just take me. Allah Ta'ala, I don't want another second to be alive again before I do anything wrong. Allah Ta'ala, just take me. It's a feeling of a rebirth. It's a feeling of also being recharged, where the Iman is also recharged. That really also it's a feeling of thinking about also the day of Qiyamah. It's a feeling to think about how Allah Ta'ala will resurrect people and will stand in front of Allah Ta'ala in the day of Qiyamah. Maybe that is the correct picture I should put forward for myself and the viewers, that you just feel that one day really, Qiyamah is haq, Qiyamah is a reality. This is just a picture that gives you that you will stand in front of Allah Ta'ala one day, and it's really has to rejuvenate one's iman, and it's really has to make you, it made me to take and make vows within myself and Allah Ta'ala, that Allah Ta'ala, I want to be the most obedient person after this experience of Hajj. But as I've said, looking at the Kaaba the first time, as I was advised by the scholars and by ulama, I made a lot of dua for my parents, for myself. I made a lot of dua for my asatiza who have left, and I made a lot of dua for our country, especially for our country. It is a feeling of being, I don't want to put it as being born again, but it's a feeling of
exactly.
Allah,
when you don the ihram, you do feel like you're being born again. When you wore the ihram, that makes you realize that you're reborn, alhamdulillah, to do good deeds going forward. You can expand on that, and I also would like you to expand on the day of Arafah and the pelting of the shaitan. We have about, I think, 4 minutes left, so I'll hand over to you to talk about those rituals, please.
Yes, as I've said, that there is a lot of walking. Myself, I never expected. I thought myself, that I'm a man, I'm strong. But really, if those who still have to go for Hajj, who have never went there, you have to really be prepared to walk, and be strong. But most importantly, besides preparations, physical preparation, but the real preparation is to have the taqwa of Allah Ta'ala, and make sure that you don't harm anyone and you don't find yourself involved in things that, or saying things or doing things that can harm the next person. The pelting of shaitan, as I was there in the pelting the jamarat, pelting the shaitan, there is a feeling that came that I've always also used even after Hajj, that whenever there's something wrong that comes in my mind, I must have that experience of pelting the shaitan and take that stone and say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim, and pelt the shaitan in my mind. Whenever shaitan and the whispers of shaitan are coming, even after Hajj, as I'm here in South Africa now, that experience, it has lasted with me. It has always been with me from that time, that whenever there's something wrong that comes in my mind, I must remember the moment when I was pelting the shaitan, as well as when I was in Arafah. Wallahi, like how Nabi Sallallahu said, Al-Hajj Arafah, that really, Hajj itself, it is the day of Arafah. It is such an experience that we are making a lot of dua and crying in front of Allah Ta'ala, and crying, and you just forget yourself. The feeling, as I've said, it's a feeling of rebirth, even when you're in Arafah, crying and making a lot of dua, and asking Allah Ta'ala to change us, asking Allah Ta'ala to change our conditions and change the conditions of our country and the conditions of the world. So that really being in Arafah, it was just another experience that cannot be explained. For me, it's just that Allah Ta'ala take me. And for me also, it's an experience that it's being reborn again and again, and trying to make sure that once we go back home, and you must always have that stone, those stones that you've collected. Whenever the shaitan comes, you just keep on pelting the shaitan, keep on pelting the shaitan. It is an experience that if you really went there with an empty cup, a cup which is not full of pride, a cup which is not full of anything which is wrong, empty and clean cup, your iman gets filled, and it's filled, and in such a way that once you go back home, you really, really want that experience that you have experienced, that you must share with other people, and you must live that life of being a Haji, being a person who has fulfilled this last pillar of Islam. We are trying, we are weak, but on daily basis we are trying to keep on pelting the shaitan, not only that we've pelted the shaitan only in the Holy Land, but on daily basis we are always having those stones of pelting the shaitan, because inna shaitana lil insana aduwwun mubin. Shaitan, for indeed for men, is an open enemy. So for those who have performed Hajj and those who have not performed Hajj, this is my advice for myself and for everyone, that the same stones that we will pick up and to pelt the shaitan in the Jamarat, we must always carry the same stones, that wherever we are, we don't allow the shaitan to put the wrong things in our mind, and we must also advise others that keep on pelting the shaitan, inshallah, till the rest of our life, till we meet Allah Ta'ala, inshallah.
Ameen. We've got 2 or 3 minutes left to wrap up time. And I'm wondering if you have had the opportunity. I have no doubt you have. We've only got a minute left, so says my producer, so let's wrap up. I'll save that question for another time. Give us your final thoughts this morning on Hajj and your experience. Alhamdulillah.
First of all, I make a lot of dua for those who are in Hajj. Allah Ta'ala has accepted them, Allah Ta'ala accept all our Hajj, and those who have performed Hajj in the past, Allah Ta'ala accept all our Hajj. And those who have not performed, we make dua that Allah Ta'ala make it easy and make it possible that all of us, inshallah, will fulfill this pillar from the pillars of Islam. But most importantly, most importantly, what we should try, myself and everyone, is that the life that we have tried to live those few days in Hajj, like how in Ramadan, in these auspicious days and auspicious months, let us try by all means that translates this life that we have lived in Hajj, and try and translate it and live it and implement it, and in our homes especially, in our communities. If we do this genuinely, sincerely, mukhlisina lahuddin, Islam inshallah will spread in this country and in the whole world. And not forgetting to make dua for our oppressed brothers in different parts of the world, but especially those who are in Palestine. We all know the pain, and it's very unbelievable. We hope that through the du'as of the Hujjaj, Allah Ta'ala will transform and bring peace in the whole land, and then we can reclaim back one of our holy sites, which is Masjid al-Aqsa, inshallah. We are praying and that Allah Ta'ala accept the du'as of the Hujjaj and make it easy for our brothers in Palestine and all the oppressed people of the world, inshallah. Allah Ta'ala make us not only to just go for Hajj, but come back and live the life of being a true Hajji in our communities, inshallah. Allah Ta'ala forgive all of us, and Allah Ta'ala take us with Iman, and Allah Ta'ala resurrect us on the day of Qiyamah with all the people of Iman, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant each and every Hujjaj this year Hajj Maqbool, Hajj Mabrur, inshallah. May they return home safely to their loved ones, inshallah. And as Sheikh has said, may there be peace in the lands of Palestine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emancipate the Palestinian people. And that is, of course, our fervent dua for peace in Palestine. That brings us to the end of the show. Sheikh Saeed, thank you indeed for being with us on the show this morning and sharing some of your memories with us. We thank you for being with us on throughout the show. May you and your loved ones have a wonderful Eid ul-Adha. Be safe. May Allah be with one and all, inshallah. Thank you to our production team, and from me, Julie Ali. Till the next time, as always, Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz.